Hello, I'm talking about Unit 3, Activity 5. I said I would make this video for you, so I just wanted to go through and explain. The formatting's a little off with this particular one, so it looks a little bit different, or the font is bigger, or it doesn't stand out as well. So we're going to go through, this is all the formative information about different types of poetry or writing about reality and changing the reality of how we see it. So there's just some ideas in there before we get to coming down here. This is the really important part. So we're going to be writing what's called an object poem, and I'm going to explain that. So there's a lot of information in here. We have some definitions and what is object poetry. It's a poem about an inanimate object, looking at something such as sunglasses. And more than just talking about the sunglasses, you might want to think about, like, what have those sunglasses seen? What are they used for? Not that they take on a persona, but that you're looking at that object and looking at the human perspective as to what is connected to that object. So there's some information in here. There's even a link right here about found poetry, the idea of how poems don't necessarily need to exist in terms of looking at an author sits down and writes a poem about a human emotion, that there's lots of different examples of found poetry. And so found poetry is an interesting one where you cut out words. We often do this when we're getting rid of books, that they can cut words out of books and paste them on and create a poem out of the words that they cut out. So finding poetry in a number of different places other than the usual writing about a concept. So it's really about finding inspiration in a number of different ways. So when we're looking at object poems, there's another website right here that shows you object poetry. And so these are a number of different poems all about objects. So a bathtub, a wallet, a lamp. And you can read through here and get some of these ideas. Now, this is just for your own notes. You're encouraged to look through there and what poems did you read? What ones picked out? Is there any that sort of helped you shape your idea? So all of this information from here above to object, object in the content is helping you understand what an object poem is all about. And I'm going to show you one student example. This was submitted last year. And so it's about a journal. And so this student has written about this journal, but it's not just about the journal. It's what would be written in it, or the connection to it in terms of what this journal would have been used for. Worn brown pages filled to the brim, secrets, memories, things I'm dying to say, reflecting thinking written in smudged ink, dreams, hopes, and wishes for another life, regrets from this life. An old leathery scent reaching my nostrils, the soft pages hit one another as you fumble through the pages, the soft worn edges soft against your fingers. And so this student picked an object and then really described it, what's in it. And anyone who's kept a journal can somewhat understand what's connected to this, that it's more than just an object, that it's really the keeper of everything that you've thought and felt that you kind of keep and hold to yourself. So in order to generate ideas as to objects, instead of randomly finding things around you, what I had students do was I had them actually create, and I'm going to see if I can find it. I had them collaborate into a Google Doc, and not every student participated, but there is, this is on the homepage in the news feed. You can actually go to Unit 3, Activity 5 in the news feed and find the collaborative link, and you don't have to contribute to it, but you can definitely look through here and see. I asked students to post pictures as well as write up a couple of objects, and there may be something in there that you want to write about that you feel might be worthy of writing about, that there's a feeling or a thought connected to it. So when I see a hot chocolate, I'm thinking a cold winter night, and that you're curled up somewhere warm having a hot chocolate, or it could have, different feelings connected to it. So just going through these objects, this is just to generate ideas. That's the whole purpose. And what you're being asked to do is you are going to write one poem. You're going to, you can look through that Google Doc or come up with your own. Choose 1 to 3 objects to write about. You're not writing 3 poems. You're just looking at a number of different objects and seeing if you can write a poem about any one of them. And then you're handing in one of the poems that you write about an object in. You submit it into Unit 3, Activity 1. This was the only assignment that was due in Unit 3, Activity 5. And the other one, I'm going to talk about it, but it's just a bonus assignment. You don't have to do it. So coming down here, looking at a number of different things in order to generate poetry ideas, the random rolling randomizer is just there so that you can generate some ideas. And I'm just clicking here. And you don't have to use these, but it can definitely help you even in the object poem. Okay, so you can use these to generate some ideas in case you're totally stuck. But again, the creative process sometimes takes a turn and maybe you don't want to use those ideas. So the content down here is talking about stream of consciousness writing. This is where you just set out a certain amount of time and you just write whatever comes to your head. You don't make judgments on whether or not it's good. You just get all of your ideas out. And sometimes in poetry or short story writing, this can actually lead you. It may not be the finished product, but it definitely gets out some ideas that you can definitely use. So it's talking about stream of consciousness. Continues on down here where you could write an altered poem. So there's lots of information in here about what an altered poem is. There's podcasts for poets and a few other things. Here's what an altered poem is. Taking inspiration from something else and creating a poem, a medium in which to create your poem. And so you could come down here and write an altered poem. But again, this is a bonus assignment and is not required, right? So bonus assignment. You can absolutely do that one too. If you come up with another idea for a poem and would like to submit it for extra marks, then you can absolutely do that. So this is the focus right here. You're only writing one poem about an object and handing that in.